Selamat Pagi and good morning. This is Jackson Wehrli with my sixth installment of the Selamat Pagi podcast. And this is the week, you guys. This is the week that I left America and flew all the way to Singapore. Oh, yeah. This is the final week of the MTC. We've made it. We made it past the monotonous stuff. Now we're getting into the fun, crazy, awesome, super spiritual, wonderful experience that I had in Malaysia and Singapore. So here it is, you guys. We're ready. We started off the week with what we call TRC, and that's when we teach people who speak Malay face to face or over the phone a real lesson. No longer the teachers pretending to be people being taught, but this is the real deal. And so I did a TRC Skype call with a person named Jeff, and I taught him a whole lesson and got to know him, and he was really kind and he was really fun, and it was crazy. It was just all of a sudden it was so real. It was this moment. It was when I left my family and walked into the doors of the MTC, and it was coming home. Those were the three moments where the mission felt real. No, there's another moment. We'll get to that when I land in Singapore. But when I land in Singapore, when I do the TRC with Jeff, and when I left my family into the MTC, those are the only three moments that this felt real. Like it felt like it was actually happening. And so here I am talking to Jeff, and I'm like, oh my gosh, Malaysia is a real place. There are real people here. This is crazy. And I taught Jeff, and he was very kind. He noticed my CTR ring and asked if it was a promise ring. He asked if I had a girlfriend. And I spoke to him just for a brief moment about a girl that I was seeing before I left. And we'll talk a little bit more about her in later podcasts, because she will come back up and she will be important later on as well. But kind of funny. Now, the two companions that I was with, Elder Bryce and Elder Keith, they were learning Marshallese. The Marshallese teacher was Brother Tonini. Brother Tonini was talking to his students, and I was in there because I was supposed to be with my companions. And they were trying to get him a girlfriend. They were telling him to go out and find a girlfriend. To go out and find a girlfriend. And I said, hey, I suggested my teacher. I said, hey, would you ever consider going on a date with Sister Ewan? And he said, yeah, why not? I said, all right, I challenge you to just ask her to dinner. That was it. Ask her to dinner. You don't have to marry her. Just ask her to dinner. And so he says, okay, yeah, I'll ask her to dinner. Well, then I went back into my room the next day, talked to Sister Ewan. And I said, Sister Ewan, just a thought, but if some random person asked you out on a date, how inclined would you be to go with them? And she said, well, it'd be better if I knew the person a little better, if he was in my circle of friends. She said something. She gave me some answer. We had a little conversation. I kind of eased my way into it and didn't just drop it on her at the beginning, but I eased my way enough that she wouldn't detect anything. And I said, well, what if Brother Tonini asked you out to dinner? Would you go? And she thought about it. She said, yeah, I would go. Yeah, I would go. Well, then I went back to Brother Tonini and I said, all right, Brother Tonini, this isn't what I do as a missionary. I don't suggest these things. But this is what she said. And he goes, okay, sure, I'll ask her on a date. What's the harm? This will also come up later. So we're setting the stage here for just an awesome 2 years. Now, I had read the Book of Mormon from cover to cover once in my life. when I was here in the MTC, I was in the beginning chapters of the first Nephi, and people kept saying stuff about, oh, Lehi dies in this chapter. Oh, Laman and Lemuel rebel against Nephi again in this chapter. And it had been so long since I had read those, because the first time I read the Book of Mormon, it took me 4 years to complete. I said, elders, you got to stop spoiling stuff. I'm not there yet. They'd talk about Alma, and I'd be like, dude, I'm not there yet. Quit spoiling it. And finally, it got to the point where they were like, okay, we're going to talk about the Book of Mormon. You're about to go on a mission and teach about it. You either got to catch up or we got to spill the beans for you. And I said, well, shoot, I'll just read it. And I'll read it before I go out into the mission field. And they were like, okay, well, where are you? And I was on I must have been in 1 Nephi 11 or 1 Nephi 13, somewhere in those first beginning chapters. And they said, okay, well, how are you going to do it? And I said, well, how many days do we have left? And we were going to leave the following Wednesday, and it was, I want to say it was a Friday. I can't remember. Long story short, me and my companion Elder Bryce read the entire Book of Mormon to each other, or listened to it and followed along. Or he would read while I was eating, I would read while he was eating, reading in between classes, reading all through personal study, all through companion study, all through language study. We read the entire Book of Mormon from cover to cover in 3.5 days. And it was intense. And I still have the little scratch piece of paper that I took notes with. I jotted down scriptures that I liked that I was going to come back to, and I jotted down names and people. And so that was interesting. It's something that I would suggest to all, but I would do it on a weekend or on a holiday when you have time to do it. Because we did not have time to do it, and we had to cram. And we stayed up late, which was against the rules, we found out. But, man, I read the entire Book of Mormon from cover to cover with Elder Bryce in 3.5 days. Then my father sent me a fountain pen that was my favorite pen before my mission that I had lost my senior year. It had gone missing. And I found it. This is a pen that I had got matching ones for me and one of my favorite teachers in high school. And I lost it, and my father found it, and he sent it to me. So here I was with my pen ready to go to the MTC. We got our flight plans, and one night these two elders came up and knocked on my door, and they said, hey, we're looking for Elder Wehrli. And I thought I was in trouble. I was like, oh no, I've done something. And my companion, Elder Bryce, he goes to the door and he goes, yeah, what do you need him for? You know, kind of like in defense a little bit. And they said, well, we're going to his mission. And I was the only Malay speaker in the whole MTC. I didn't know there was other people going to my mission. And they say, hey, Elder Wehrli, we got our flight plans and we saw that you're in our group. You're a Malay speaker. We're Chinese speakers. I'm Elder Crowell and I'm Elder Pack. And they were going to be in my mission. And I was like, whoa, that's sweet. They were super cool. I wasn't alone. They said, yeah, and there's another sister with us as well. Her name is Sister Wong. And so that was kind of cool. And we'll close this podcast off. And next week we will talk about our flight to Singapore. But oh baby, here is where we go. We have finished the MTC. Now we're getting ready to go to Malaysia. Woo woo! Get excited, everybody, because this is gonna be the best 2 years of my entire life shared with you.